Man, I'm telling you, if you want to fall in love with Jesus again, go read Hosea, where he talks about how God tells the prophet Hosea, to go and marry a prostitute. And even though she's out there whoring and giving herself to other men and having babies by other men and prostituting herself, Hosea still falls in love with her and still is intimate with her, still communes with her. And he uses Hosea to demonstrate, this is how I feel as the faithful husband, that every time you go out prostituting yourselves with other gods. So these writings are an incredible love story of God's faithfulness to Israel, even when they were the unfaithful bride to him. The scriptures are just beautiful. This is why I love the word of God. So again, breaking it down even further, the law of Moses, mingles God's law with history, from the creation of the cosmos to Israel's entrance into the promised land. The prophets join prophecies with historical texts and tell Israel's story from the people's entrance into the promised land to their exile from the land. You went in, now you're getting put out. Okay. And then last of all, the writings weave wisdom and poetry with scrolls that were read during Israel's festivals and texts that told Israel's history from a different perspective than the former and latter prophets period. Since the Psalms are the longest book in the writings, and they stood near the beginning of the writings, the entirety of the third section of the Jewish Bible was sometimes called Psalms or even David. Imagine what it was like for the Jews. Sometimes I think I love using my imagination to understand what it was like for them, understanding that they were unfaithful, looking back and remembering how they fell into idolatry and how they fell into judgment and captivity. And yet in the middle of it, God was faithful. I love that because it helps me to look and see, hey, when I've messed up, when I've fallen short, when I've dropped the ball, even when God disciplines me, he will never use those things for my destruction. They are always for my development. God utilized the nation of Israel to paint a picture for us, to make an example for us that even though we may mess up and drop the ball and fall short, he will never leave us. He may discipline us, but even in his discipline, it is always because he loves us and he wants us to do better, to represent him better.